Seeing that the new Justice League Snyder Cut has been released, I'm very much interested to review it. But I'll be holding out on that one because I want to take a look back onto the 2017 Justice League movie. Cause let's be honest, this film had a million elements working against it. With all the things we get in it, no one, and I mean no one, enjoyed it. Some fans even call it the worst superhero film ever, and it was kind of expected, to be honest. Even under the best circumstances, to introduce so many new characters while also trying to be a sequel to Batman v Superman was going to be really hard. And as everyone knows already, Justice League was not made under the best circumstances. Due to so many writers, producers, and even changing directors midway, it was expected that this was going to be bad. Then reshoots, so many rewrites, and it became inevitable that this was going to be a very flawed film and would definitely not live up to what was expected. While the film does have its moments, it was overall a pretty massive letdown. And the characters. Knockoff Iron Man, Merman, who always is badass, a guy who just pushes people and runs, that one serious guy they turned into a joke, a wonderful woman with a wonderful solo movie, and the main guy who has strange lips and very weird lines.
Itchy.
So yeah, a really terrible film. You know a film is bad when a scene where a guy moves his eyeball is the coolest one. Now work on this film had actually began back in 2007. Yes, even before the MCU had started. The script was ready and I believe George Miller was supposed to direct it, who has made films like Mad Max Fury Road. And even the casting of the film was finalized. And shooting was supposed to begin soon. But then came along the writer's strike, which then delayed the movie by a lot. And after the strike calmed down, preparation for the film again began in 2008 and was supposed to be shot in Australia. But then another problem came. The Australian government did not allow them subsidy in tax. And because they couldn't get concession in tax, the production was put on hold again. And then came a certain mind-blowing film known as The Dark Knight. Seeing the popularity, the heads decided that, now you see, that film became successful and it only had one hero. So we will only make solo movies and no team-up movies. And so the Justice League got cancelled. But in 2012, a certain blockbuster came out that was part of a cinematic universe which was really successful. That's right, I'm talking about The Avengers. And seeing that, DC got greedy. So guys, the Avengers was pretty successful in creating a universe. Let's make our own. And then immediately the next year, the DCU was born in 2013. After which, work on the Justice League film began under Zack Snyder. Now DC does not have many movies that could defeat Marvel in even box office numbers. But there's one field that they defeated Marvel. And that is to make the behind the scenes and the making of a movie so epic. That in itself could be a film on its own. If there was ever an award or title for such things, then that would definitely go to DC's Justice League. Many of the problems for Justice League were only created after BVS. After the release of that film, almost no one liked it and were criticizing it, which didn't make the heads happy. Even though they were the ones who cut out half an hour out of the film, which I don't think they understood. That's why when the shooting of Justice League was being done, script changes and rewrites were also being done, due to which there was a little bit of an argument between the original writer Chris Terrio and the studio heads. After filming the whole movie, Zack Snyder had to leave the film due to his daughter's death. So, to finish up the post-production, they brought in Joss Whedon, the guy who directed Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron. I think the reason behind is that the studio wanted a more Marvel-esque film instead of the Zack Snyder dark-esque film. And after the entire shooting of the Justice League film, Mr. Whedon decided to do 2 months worth of reshoots. Actors were brought back, many of Snyder's scenes were cut out, and even many scenes were rewritten. Now because Henry Cavill had his mustache for Mission Impossible Fallout, and because they didn't have the permission to shave them off, they shot the scenes with that and removed the mustache with VFX. And yeah, wow, wow. If I was one of the audience, my first question would be what's wrong with his lips? I mean, the movie didn't even start properly and most people were probably weirded out by this scene. Hey, is that Superman or Super Guy with weird lips, man? And things don't just stop there. Justice League was one of the most expensive movies ever made. Even after so much, it did a poor performance at the box office. For a normal movie, it would be an average business, but because its budget was so huge, the loss was also huge. The film was expected to break around $1 billion. Alright, if I be honest, if you just want to pass time, have nothing to do, and are absolutely bored, then sure, you could maybe enjoy this. But if you try to use your brain even a little bit, yeah, there are many problems. One of them is that it doesn't feel very connected to the DC extended universe. That was dark and brooding films and then suddenly came this Marvel knockoff. The villain in the movie was just generic, like, hey, I'm a villain, I will destroy the world, and then gets defeated easily by one guy. Some of the characters feel like they were put in just for their name and not for their actual character, like Cyborg. And I think the biggest one is that how most DC and some Marvel fans were like, yo, you Marvel got the Avengers? Well, guess what? We are going to have our own team up movie. Like, boom, you looking for this? Oh. What we got basically was not the Avengers, but maybe Thor: The Dark World, one of the most forgettable movies ever. But there was a plus point to this film also. I'll be totally honest when I'm saying this. I think the 2017 Justice League film was a film that we did not deserve, but was a film that needed to be made. Okay, let me make one thing clear before I get too late. Alright, now listen to me just for once. All the failures, all the bad things that this movie had was in my opinion for the better. Even if Zack Snyder did not lead the production, we would have still gotten a 2-hour film due to those goddamn heads. But think about this. If we didn't get that film, if Joss Whedon never came, would we be getting this 4-hour Snyder film? No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have had this 4-hour movie. No Joker, no full-frame dimension for better viewing, no scenes with the Batman's nightmares. Jared Leto wouldn't have reclaimed the Joker status. Snyder would be known as a visionary director, and neither would all of us fans would be together. We all know that the Justice League movie was very disappointing for everyone, but it is due to that we all were able to come together. More than $500,000 worth of charity and even non-DC celebrities were on it. Many people thought it was not worth it, but even then millions of fans did not give up. Even though DC's track record has not been very pleasing, people enjoy some of them. Now I want to say something very clearly. In films and shows, people are made fun of sometimes here and there, and that's alright. But don't forget this. Joss Whedon is not at all a bad director. I've seen some people ridicule him for this film, and dude, neither you or me know him personally, so I don't think we should judge him like that. Even coming to his films, Whedon is a very good director. I bet if he had full creative control of the movie from the beginning, he could have made it better. The same goes for Age of Ultron. It was supposed to be a dark movie, but Disney didn't like darkness, so they said no to that and made it into a humorous movie like all the others, and became forgettable. Even leaving the Avengers aside, this guy also wrote the screenplay of freaking Toy Story, and even directed the intimate scenes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I really love. Same goes for Zack Snyder. He made memorable films like Watchmen and 300. Sometimes people trip and fail a little, and that's okay. And in that way, I think Justice League was, quote-unquote, a good failure. Because if the Snyder Cut was never released, it would be a huge tragedy for the film industry in general. There were some plus points to that terrible film after all. We get to see this one now. My motto for this film is, try to move on and look forward to the future. And even if that film was just a little bit better, we would have not gotten this film. So yeah, in some ways, thank you to those who ruined the film. You indirectly did a great job. So, now that this is done, time to watch the Justice League Snyder Cut.